Evolution, has played a rather famous joke on your retina. Think about it. Light entering the human eye first has to pass through a dense layer of blood vessels and nerve fibers before it can even reach the photoreceptor cells at the back. It's kind of like watching a movie, but with all these cables constantly dangling right in front of the screen. And to make things even more interesting, the optic nerve has to punch right through the retina to send signals back to the brain, creating what we call a blind spot in our field of vision. But deep in the ocean, the octopus, well, it just laughs at this design. While octopuses have also evolved corneas, lenses, and retinas, functions that are surprisingly similar to human eyes, their nerve fibers actually grow on the back times of the retina. This means there's no obstruction and no blind spot. Biologists refer to this phenomenon as convergent evolution. It's when two completely independent species, adapting to the same physical environment, like light conditions, evolve organs that have similar functions but are structurally quite different. Now, let's shift our gaze from the ocean to the global semiconductor industry. A grand convergent evolution is actually taking place right now. In this ongoing process, ASML from the Netherlands is like the vertebrate ruling the land, while China, in the deep sea, is trying to evolve that octopus eye without a blind spot. In this particular ecosystem, the sole criterion for survival is something called the Rayleigh criterion. The formula for this is CD equals K1 lambda divided by NA. You don't need to memorize that, but just focus on the Greek letter lambda in the middle. That represents the wavelength of the light source. To survive the fierce competition driven by Moore's law, humans have had to shrink transistors down to below 5 nanometers. Once lens technology hit its physical limits, the only way forward was to compress that wavelength, lambda. So all lithography species, if you will, had to cross a major threshold, moving from 193 nanometer deep ultraviolet light to 13.5 nanometer extreme ultraviolet light, or EUV. This, my friends, is the environmental pressure. Whoever can generate and control 13.5 nanometer light, well, they're the ones who will survive. ASML's secret to its dominance lies in its evolution of an incredibly complex LPP light source system. This system, essentially, creates a miniature nuclear explosion 50,000 times per second. Here's how it works. Inside a vacuum chamber, liquid tin is sprayed out, flying at 70 meters per second. First, a pre-pulse laser hits a tin droplet, flattening it into a disc, almost like dough. Then, nanoseconds later, a main laser with a power of up to 20 kilowatts blasts it. The tin droplet instantly vaporizes, its temperature soaring to hundreds of thousands of degrees, releasing that highly sought-after 13.5 nanometer extreme ultraviolet light. But, this vertebrate eye-like system comes with some pretty high metabolic costs. To guide that light onto the chip, ASML uses more than a dozen Bragg mirrors. The thing is, each mirror can only reflect about 70% of the light. So, after 11 reflections, less than 2% of the original light intensity actually remains. It's kind of like detonating a bomb next door just to light a desk lamp, and then needing a water cooling system to prevent your entire house from melting. This, in essence, is the blind spot of the LPP technology route. It's extremely low energy conversion efficiency. In 2023, a cold winter arrived. The most stringent semiconductor equipment export controls cut off China's access to ASML lithography machines. According to traditional thinking, if the main door is blocked, technological progress should just stop. But, as we know, life always finds a way. When the terrestrial environment becomes uninhabitable, the power of evolution forces species to dig tunnels underground. Since top-tier lenses from German Zeiss and light sources from American Cymer couldn't be bought, China had to evolve a new anatomical structure that could survive without these specific organs. And so, China has embarked on 2 unique evolutionary paths. The first path is LDP technology, which we're calling the Nautilus eye. Unlike ASML, which uses lasers to bombard tin droplets, This method directly electrocutes tin vapor with high voltage electricity. This structure is quite simple and, well, a bit crude. While it does produce more debris, and its current power is only just over 100 watts, which isn't as good as ASML's 250 watts, it's very inexpensive and completely bypasses Western patent barriers. For companies like Huawei and Shanghai Microelectronics, who urgently need to solve the problem of having 7 nanometer chips at all, this is like an eye in the dark that, though a bit blurry, is enough to save lives. The second path, however, is truly disruptive. It's called SSMB, or steady state microbunching. This, my friends, is that perfect octopus eye. The SSMB system, proposed by a team at Tsinghua University, completely reconfigures the form of lithography machines. ASML's approach is to build a machine, a tool that sits in a box. SSMB's approach, on the other hand, is to build a factory, a massive piece of infrastructure. It's a bit like every household in the West buying a generator to produce their own electricity, while China decides to build a Three Gorges dam and then run power lines to every single household. In this huge circular accelerator currently being built in the Xiong'an area, electron beams are modulated by lasers into neat microbunches. Physics really shows its magic here. Ordinary electrons run chaotically, and the light they emit has power proportional to the number of electrons, n. But for these neat, uniform microbunches, the radiation power is proportional to the times square times of the number of electrons, n squared. This square effect brings about a qualitative leap. First off, there's light purity. ASML's explosive light source is full of impurities and requires complex filtering. The light emitted by SSMB, however, is naturally pure 13.5 nanometers. Just like an octopus's retina, has no nerve obstruction in front of it. Secondly, there's power. ASML struggles to push its power to 500 watts, almost reaching its limit. But SSMB can theoretically easily reach 1,000 watts or even 4,000 watts. And finally, there's an optical revolution. Because the light source is strong enough, pure enough, and straight enough, there's no need to manufacture 11 top-tier reflective mirrors. Just a few relatively simple mirrors can achieve the same effect. This truly is the essence of convergent evolution. You don't need to create lenses that can rival Zeiss. As long as your light source's anatomical structure is superior, you can still see every detail of the microscopic world. History tells us time and again that the optimal solution is never the only one. During World War II, the British chose centrifugal jet engines, while the Germans opted for axial flow. In the 19th century, Edison insisted on direct current, while Tesla bet on alternating current. Ultimately, these technologies didn't result in an absolute winner. Instead, each found its own adaptive niche. The future semiconductor industry will also no longer be unipolar. Instead, it's likely to split into two distinctly different forms. One is the Western form, based on ASML, independent, expensive, precise, standalone lithography machines serving dispersed commercial foundries. The other is the Chinese form, based on SSMB, huge, centralized photon factories serving national-level industrial clusters. The laws of physics are fair. They don't dictate that only vertebrates can have high-definition vision, nor do they dictate that chips can only be made by following the Western path. When that giant octopus emerges from the underground accelerator pipes, you'll find that mutations forced by blockades are often more vital than the original. Because in the story of evolution, there is never an end, only continuous reshaping to adapt to the environment.